When we hear the word narcissist, most of us picture someone who is deeply obsessed with themselves, someone who looks in the mirror and genuinely loves what they see. Decades of deep clinical study reveal a childhood survival mechanism, a heavy armor built around a completely empty center. To understand their behavior, picture an imposing, highly complex mechanical suit. This is the adult avatar that faces the outside world. It looks incredibly capable and often intimidating. But if you look inside that armor, there is no adult at the controls. The operator running this machine is a frozen, terrified 2-year-old child. Recognizing this hidden toddler architecture helps you depersonalize their actions, making daily interactions much easier to handle. To see how this psychological machinery is built, we have to go all the way back to early infancy. This diagram shows a fascinating comparison. While conditions like psychopathy and borderline personality disorder have clear genetic or structural links in the brain, pathological narcissism is different. It leaves no proven biological footprint. Instead, it is triggered by severe early trauma. This diagram shows 4 ways a child's boundaries are destroyed when they aren't allowed to separate: through smothering overprotectiveness, forcing the child to meet the parent's emotional needs, or placing them on an unrealistic pedestal. This illustration plots what happens next. Normally, an infant learns who they are by seeing themselves reflected in a healthy parent's emotional responses. But if that parent is emotionally absent, that reflection fails. Without that boundary, the child plummets downward into an eternal, terrifying void. To survive the sheer terror of that void, the child's mind invents an imaginary, invincible friend to act as a protector. The child's real, vulnerable personality is permanently sacrificed to this new, perfect creation. This is the birth of the false self. Because a child cannot accept that their caregiver is dangerous, they adopt a heartbreaking moral default. My parent is perfectly good, therefore I am all bad. The adult who grows out of this environment spends their entire life running a mechanical program, constantly trying to silence that deep, punishing inner shame. Let's fast forward to adulthood. Because that hidden 2-year-old operator finds the real, unpredictable world far too scary to deal with, they actually don't interact with external reality at all. This schematic outlines snapshotting. They take your complex human traits and flatten them into a static photograph inside their mind. The relationship becomes a puppet show. They interact exclusively with that internal image, ignoring the real person standing in front of them. This predictable cycle starts with idealization. This diagram outlines the shared fantasy. They project perfection onto you, believing, if my partner is flawless, I am flawless by association. They show you a perfect reflection of yourself, creating an intoxicating psychological addiction. Eventually, the toddler operator doubts this perfection. Fearing your love is conditional, they need to know if you'll abandon them. To test this, they apply the logic of cruelty, intentionally inflicting abuse and hurting you just to see if you will stay. Finally, phase 3 arrives. Because you make mistakes, you eventually shatter the illusion of that perfect internal photograph. Experiencing severe cognitive dissonance, they solve the discomfort by violently crossing out your image, rewriting you as an enemy, and discarding you entirely. This dizzying cruelty has absolutely nothing to do with your value or worth. It is a robotic loop, a desperate repetition compulsion, to replay and somehow solve their own arrested childhood development. This schematic illustrates the clinical difficulty of the condition. Because the real personality was set aside at such a young age, the mind lacks the traditional adult architecture that most therapy relies on. That core remains hidden behind a heavy vault door. While the internal structure may be fixed, you can manage your daily interactions. The first step is completely depersonalizing the conflict. When they attack you, remember, they are shouting at a photograph inside their own head, not the real you. Notice how a healthy mind operates on fluid, natural waves, while a narcissist uses rigid, repetitive blocks of speech. This relentless, looping vocabulary can actually begin to synchronize with your own thoughts, overriding your natural mental rhythm until you feel foggy and exhausted. You can break this mental synchronization by protecting your own thoughts. Use the gray rock method. When they start a looping argument, offer only short, dull, completely non-committal responses. Become as uninteresting as a plain gray rock. Finally, when setting rules for how you will be treated, you have to be incredibly clear. Because this psychological structure views the world in extremes, as either all good or all bad, your boundaries must be stated like mechanical instructions. Do not look for an emotional understanding. Just establish the physical rule. You cannot fill the terrifying void inside them, but by learning exactly how their machinery operates, you stop playing a role in their endless puppet show. You can finally step out of their mental theater and walk back into reality.